Everybody, I was gonna say hello, guys. Hello, everybody. Welcome to DOYO Live, 31 days of DOYO Live. And this is day
12.
Day 12.
Yes.
Yes. So you only have a few more days to see us on DOYO Live. Today we are talking with my former students, Colin and Kelsey, who have started their own media company or marketing company, marketing firm, which incorporates a little bit of social media marketing, and they'll tell you more about it. K Squared is going to blow up and be the best thing to ever happen in Youngstown.
We hope so.
Yeah, we know so. We know so. So tell us a little bit about your background.
Okay, well, we're going to try not to speak over each other because we are
twins, by the way, for those of you that don't know us. So
we're and so like I said, we're going to try not to speak over each other or speak at the same time because that gets a little like The Shining. So we're going to try not to do that. But anyways, we are Youngstown born and bred. And we went to YSU, like Miss Jackson said, she was one of our professors. And after college, we, over the last 10 years, have sort of gained an arsenal of skills in our professional world. So everything from event planning to media planning and buying to publicity things such as organizing press conferences, writing press releases, that kind of thing, down to creating inventory for strategic sponsorship. So through all of that experience, we noticed that there was a real need for personal attention to be put back into marketing campaigns. Right. And so we created our boutique marketing firm called K Squared. Nice. And go ahead, Kelsey. I feel like
well, first let's say hi to Dennis. Everybody say hello to Dennis Giraldi. He is the founder of DOYO Live Conference, and I'm just a committee member, but we want to all say hello to you, make sure that you can hear us and see us and everything's going good. All right, Kelsey.
Yeah, so my background is very similar to Colin's. Graduated from YSU with a degree in communications, and my minor was in advertising and PR. And I think Colin mentioned this, but during our time at YSU, we actually interned with JAC Management Group, which we would go on to be employed with at the Cavelli Center. And like Colin said, we had various roles in the marketing and sales department. So that's kind of my background as well. And we're really excited to be able to distinguish ourselves as an option for marketing in the community. Whether you're a corporation, you're a small business, you need event marketing or strategic sponsorships, we're sort of the one-stop shop for that. And one of the distinguishing factors for us is that we really have built our business on the idea that creative strategy is best harnessed through collaboration. So what we've done is we offer a number of skills in-house, but when it comes to some of those creative pieces, we have identified some of the best industry professionals in our area as well as outside of our area. So what that's going to do is that's going to give our clients the opportunity to see creative strategy from several different sources. So instead of getting just one creative strategy with one set price, they're going to be able to choose between several creative strategies and several prices that best fit their budget.
That sounds really interesting. That's a little bit different than most marketing companies and marketing agencies have to offer. You have a little bit of diversity and a little bit more than just the, hey, we can do it all. We know you have connections and you can network out some of the
exactly work. And it's important to note that we're going to be the quarterbacks for your project. So we're not just going to go out and match you with a creative strategic partner and just kind of that's it. It's important to know marketing is such an engine, and it's important to know how each part of that engine contributes to the overall plan. And that's really what our expertise is in, and that's what our job is going to ultimately be.
And that just kind of lends itself back to our mission, which is to create a holistic sort of plan and matching your plan with the partners that make the most sense. That's not to say that we're not going to perform a lot of the services in-house, but when it makes sense to, we want to match you with the best creative partner so that you're not sequestered to a single agency's solutions.
Right. That makes sense.
Because that can get costly for the client. They could spend their entire budget on the creative assets and the creative collateral. And then you could have this beautiful creative pieces, but not actually have the budget for anybody to actually see them. So rather than be enticed by that, we're going to make sure that the marketing dollars are truly being spent on getting your messaging out in the best way possible.
Interesting. All right. So you all made a big jump from working for a company, a large corporation,
yes,
to going out on your own. If you had some suggestions or advice, what would you say to someone who was thinking of making that leap? Or what made you guys think, hey, this is what I want to do. I want to take that leap?
Well, really, this has always been the end goal. So I think if this is in your heart that you want to own your own company or do your own thing, or you have a really good concept for a product or something like that, I would say take the time to develop that plan. So Kelsey and I actually, before we even graduated college, we started working on a business model.
Oh, wow.
And then when we
across like several scrap pieces of paper and napkins, all kinds of things.
I think like our before we refined our business model, I think the last time we talked, it was like at an airport on a layover. And we like had a cocktail napkin and we're like, we could do this, we could do that. But
did you have a cocktail with the napkin?
Of course.
Okay, I was just checking.
We were on our way to a bachelorette party, I think. Of course. But anyways, I would say that take some time to really, really craft your business model and shelve it for however much time that you need to make sure that you've perfected it. Not to say that we have a perfect business model, because I think any business model has room for improvement.
Right.
But we made sure that we took the time and also gained the experience that we needed as professionals to launch this business model.
Well, and I want to kind of like build off of what you're saying, because there's a million ways to skin a cat. Our path isn't what's going to be beneficial to somebody else. So everybody sort of has their own way of getting to that step. It's just being, what I would say overall is just really identifying the core of what you want your business to be and how it is distinguishing you from other people in your field is because that's really what's going to drive your business, is what are the distinguishing factors of your business.
So if you had to say your top 4 distinguishing factors, what would they be?
One is that we are a boutique agency. So we mean it when we say that we want quality of the campaign to supersede quantity, so to speak. So we're only taking on a select amount of projects on an annual basis and a select amount of projects as well, so that we can really focus on our clients and give them the attention that they need.
Right.
We also, another distinguishing factor, which we kind of spoke about, is that we are of the mindset that the best creative strategy is manifested through collaboration. Right. So instead of, telling you that you only have these options that are what we can provide, we want to make sure you have a holistic sort of view of your campaign. And we're going to manage that process as well, which sometimes, because what a lot of people will say is, well, if you're just going to use strategic partners, why do I need you? I'll just go directly to the partners.
Right.
But we all know that process of identifying those partners and then getting proposals from all these different partners, it's a lot of legwork. And so we already have the partners in our back pocket that we want to use.
And we've spent the better part of 8 years building relationships with these partners.
So that's probably the biggest key, is building those relationships.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
And so we'll manage that whole process for you so that your project gets done in an efficient manner, and that it actually gets done on time and within your budget as well.
Another distinguishing factor is that we buy our media direct, so we are not enticed by it. It's very hard to ignore the large media commissions, but sometimes traditional media is not always in the best interest of the client, or at the level that they do the buy is not always what's going to be the most effective for that client. So we've eliminated that temptation and we buy direct, which means that we're not going to be enticed by that large media commission.
Right.
And it gives us an opportunity to get rates down a little bit, or to sort of leverage that buy for a little bit additional promotional opportunities and public relations opportunities as well.
Right. Nice. Anything else you want to share?
Well, I think the last sort of distinguishing factor for us is that I think Colin mentioned sort of in the beginning, is that our skill set is so diverse. We've worn a ton of different hats in not only our tenure at the Cavelli Center, but also before we were production assistants for JAC Management, which was Eric Ryan Productions before that. So
you learned the ins and outs of every little part and detail.
Exactly.
So that you now have that skill to do a little bit of anything.
Right.
Exactly.
Or at least be able to sort of consult on a little bit of everything.
Right.
And I think, though our skill set's diversified, our purpose is very defined.
Right.
So we always are going to keep that in mind. All of these distinguishing factors that we talked about, like, that is our purpose. Mm-hmm. And while we have a lot of different experiences and a lot of different roles, we're always going to come back to our purpose.
Nice. Now, I have a question for you. Let's see what, any questions out there? Dennis, you have any questions for us? Anybody else? I see Josh asking how much for a couch. We don't have a couch.
No couches.
So we're sitting on chairs, but anybody have any questions about their model or what they're doing and the way in which they're doing it? I have a personal question.
Yeah, sure.
We are looking for people to contribute to be a part of the DOYO Live conference.
Yeah.
So did you submit your application yet?
We did
not yet. For speakers, you mean?
For speakers.
I saw that the deadline, I think it ended. Dennis, will you extend it for us?
Yeah, because we need speakers and we need you there, and what you have to say is really, really great. I'm just looking at, I have two pages open.
Yeah.
What do you say?
So we have not advertised in a traditional sense. Full disclaimer about sponsor is being that you came from events where media.
So
we're all like,
sorry.
We're trying to read.
I don't have my glasses on, so it took me a minute to see.
We turned 30 this year, so if we don't have glasses, we
whatever.
Yes. So in terms of event marketing, it's all about, and I know I kind of sound like a broken record at this point, but it's all about leveraging your relationships to further expand your footprint. So whether that is in a traditional media buy, or whether that's engaging the speakers in your marketing plan, whether that's building a team of sort of like a digital street team, so to speak. So making sure that your content is becoming viral and identifying sort of brand ambassadors. We've had success with that. And I think, DOYO has a perfect platform for that, because it's such an interactive, well, it is. It's an interactive conference. So, and there's so many people that are involved, either from a speaker's level or from a conference attendee level,
or a committee level.
Yeah.
Or a committee level. So it's really sort of identifying what your messaging is from week to week or from month to month, and seeing what your goals are. So is your goal in the month of January to start getting early bird attendees?
Right.
So if that is your goal for January, then identifying what the messaging should be, and then identifying who can help disseminate that messaging. And then from a traditional media standpoint, I mean, it's really all about leveraging that buy. And especially this is such a great time to be doing it in the month of January and February because it's rates are a little bit better. Traditionally, rates are better. And so you can get a lot more frequency in that regard, but also being able to get some no charge spots or some promotional spots. Things kind of settle down after the holidays, so people are always looking for new things to talk about and newsworthy items. So even from a public relations standpoint, this is a great opportunity to get out in front of people where there's not a ton of clutter.
Right. That makes sense. Makes a lot of sense. So maybe we can consult with you.
Yeah, we would love to. We would absolutely love to. It's I have missed, full disclaimer, I've missed the last 2 DOYOs because I've been out of town. It always falls on my anniversary.
Well, bring your husband.
I know. It's my anniversary.
Yeah. It's really a good time, both
Yeah.
at the conference and after the conference.
Right. But we're expecting our first child, so I don't see us going on many vacations this year. So
well, you have to take the vacation before the baby.
Right.
You know
the baby move. We're
move.
looking into it. Yeah.
Before you get like right away. You know.
Right.
You can still travel
Yeah.
without needing like a crane to lift you into whatever vehicle.
How far in front of the event would you look at traditional ad buys? You know what? It sort of depends on the type of event that you're having because I would have to talk with you a little more, Dennis, in terms of when you see sort of an influx in attendees, registrations, or if there needs to be a certain time, and I think it kind of speaks to some of your financial goals as well, when you need to have some of your attendees conference money in and things like that, if that's sort of dependent on some of the event internal items. But traditionally from my experience, I mean, I marketed concerts, so that's a little bit different of a crowd, just because some of that money is obviously entertainment fund. So
Right.
it's, I would say probably anywhere from 4 to 6 weeks out for this particular event, but without actually talking to you and kind of looking under the hood a little bit, that's when I would start to pulse those traditional media buys. So whether you do your promo spots in the front of that and then really start to get heavy in your cash spots to sort of get in people's mind. But again, I don't know what your deadlines look like, so I would have to look under the hood a little bit.
If an organization was looking for sponsorship,
Mm-hmm.
how do you go about that? When do you start looking for sponsors, and how do you reach out to these people?
Well, I could speak to that. I would say that the sooner the better. As soon as you sort of develop whatever the event is or whatever the initiative is that you need sponsorship for, would get on getting those sponsors right away. And what I would do is look for so let's take DOYO. So obviously there's a digital component to it,
Right.
which is huge. And so I would look for pieces of inventory that maybe you could use as being sponsored that you could leverage that digital coverage for. So whether it be like a backdrop sponsor for some of the lives that you do, so that's great exposure, and that would be a great sponsorship
idea. I don't know if we thought about that.
Yeah.
Backdrop sponsorship for our lives. That's wonderful.
Yeah, so
Not
just
our lives, but our life.
Yes.
exactly.
But your life too.
Life too.
Yeah.
Right.
So yeah, I mean, I would just whenever you sort of develop your plan for your event or your plan for your campaign or your plan for your conference, I would actually sit down and sort of identify the inventory that could be sponsored, and that would be enticing to potential sponsors to get their brand out. Sponsorship is great for any company who's looking for branding opportunities. And there are certain industries that really love anything branding. The automotive industry loves branding efforts. The financial institutions love branding efforts. So any of those that they're just getting those impressions over and over and over again, I would I would solicit those industries first.
Mm-hmm. Hi, Tiffany.
Hey, Tiffany.
Oh, hello.
Oh, thank you.
That's good information to know. And you're giving us ideas. That's wonderful.
Well, yeah, I mean, in every, obviously this is a marketing professionals conference. So any marketing professional knows that there's constant evaluation of your plan. Mm-hmm. And it might change from year to year. It might change, from a month-to-month basis even. Mm-hmm. It all depends on what your goal is, and then being able to give yourself an opportunity to pivot if necessary. So, I mean, and that even comes into play with sponsorships. If you know that, for example, if you have, the actual conference space, you need your down payment or your deposit by X amount of date. You know that you need to secure X amount of sponsorship dollars by that date. Right. So sort of letting your financial goals dictate and evaluate what your marketing plan is. It depends on what your ultimate goal is. Is it quality versus making sure that you break even on your event? So it all sort of depends on what your goals are, but always keeping that at the forefront.
Mm-hmm.
And also, I want to say one more thing, though, about you asked about who to identify as sponsors. How do you go after them? You also want to make sure a smart sponsorship would be when you are considering your audience. So obviously at DOYO, the audience is all fellow marketers, okay? Right. So you might want to secure sponsorships that marketers would use, Mm-hmm. So like I said, financial institutions, if the company needs, a line of credit or something like that, that might be somebody that wants to get out in front of small businesses mm-hmm. or large businesses or something like that. Right.
So I have another question. What are you guys doing next week? Because Dennis wants to meet.
I see that.
Yes, let's do it.
I'll connect them. You guys will connect.
Yeah.
Dennis and then you can set up a meeting.
Dennis and I are kind of neighbors.
Okay.
We see each other running all the time.
Oh,
so I'll just run past your house, Dennis.
You can still run?
I can't. I'll walk very
there
fast.
You go.
Past your house.
Can you run?
Yeah. You guys can't see right now, but I have a big old belly, big old pregnant belly.
She has a tiny belly. It's not big yet.
Yeah. It's big enough that I huff and puff when I run, and so it's not pretty. So I walk at a very quick pace.
Well, just don't get like Dennis. Dennis agreed to speak at an event when his wife was due.
Oh.
And actually,
did she know
she
about
actually
it?
had the baby, 2 days before.
Oh.
But we were looking at that day. But we had a backup.
Yeah, so, that's good.
Yeah, don't plan to come to DOYO when you're due.
Yeah.
It might not work out.
Yeah.
We don't want that type
May,
of surprise.
So
okay.
I've got plenty of time.
Okay, good. Sounds good. He said he's walking, chasing kids.
Oh, yeah. Well, that is awesome cardio. I mean.
Oh, children will give you a lot of cardio, believe you me.
Yeah.
I'm going to drop Jabril off over there, and he can run and walk with both of you guys.
Yeah, there we go. And then he'll come back tired, and you'll be good.
Yes, great. So anything else we need to know about K-squared marketing?
Well, if you guys are interested in learning more, or if you're interested in seeing some of our business posts and things like that, we do have a Facebook. It's K-squared marketing, so check us out.
Is it spelled out, or is it K with a 2, or how?
Squared is spelled out.
Okay.
So yeah.
I'm just making sure they can find
No,
you.
that's good because a lot of people do.
Where'd you get that name from? Colin and Kelsey
with a K. Yeah. So, and actually, like I mentioned earlier that we had developed an initial business model before we even graduated college. Mm-hmm. We've always known the name was going to be K-squared, though.
I love it. Yeah. That is a really good name.
Thank you.
Anything else?
Any
other ways for them to get in touch with you?
Yeah, you know what? We'll leave them in the comments at the end of this, and we'll link our Facebook too, so it's super easy to get to us.
But thank you so much for inviting us. We're really excited. This is sort of launching our business officially. So we really feel fortunate to have been invited to speak about our
you guys
business
are
on
my
this
favorite
platform.
students.
Oh, you say that
you're
to
my friend.
everybody.
I don't. They were formerly Ruperts before they got married. And I used to just say the Rupert twins. And then they sent me their lovely little sister.
Yeah.
I had another Rupert and I just never had the brother. But I love you guys. You guys are
we love
great.
you
And
too.
you guys are doing wonderful things and great
you.
things in community. And I'm so happy you came for me to take over DOYO Live.
Yay.
And again, this is the 31 days of Christmas, day 12. So tune in for tomorrow when you have day 13. I think Dennis is up tomorrow. So he'll come with a lot of great information. But thank you guys for checking in. Thanks.
All right. Thank you.
All righty. Bye.